So I would, and I was like, fuck that. I don't want to play something that I don't like. Like, that's not the reason why I play music. People forget that it's an art. Music is an art, so like, just feel free of doing it however you want it. Like, is it because I want to do it, like I want to play it, or is it because of the approval part that is a bit like of an addiction in a way? And I didn't go to university anymore because I was just practicing all day long in my room. It's time for new blood.
Okay people, it's time for the Cherry Dog Podcast, with special guest,
Lore Jarocinski.
There we go.
Actually, before we even do a proper start,
Open your can.
yeah,
I'll have a sip of my beverage.
it'd be like ASMR drinking or something. Yeah, right, all sorted. Laurie, thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank
Actually,
you for
our
having
first,
me.
it's only our second podcast, but actually really sick to have a live guest. So,
Yeah.
and you've come from a different country, so you set the bar.
And that's my first podcast ever as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Go.
Oh, well,
Okay.
perfect.
Honoured.
Well, hopefully it all goes well. But yeah, we know you quite well through your music online and stuff, and guitar playing, well, just all-round music, really. No better way to start an interview with a musician than where did it all start?
So it started when I was 7, actually, and my parents like put me to a music school, and they wanted me to play the piano. Like, it's not really they wanted me, but they kind of directed me to play the piano. And so up until I was 18, I played the piano there, also a bit of clarinet, and learned like music theory and all that stuff. And then when I was 18, I went to university, so I quit. And that's how, like, I was already listening to quite a lot of rock and metal, and my parents were also pretty much into that. And a friend of mine was like, have you ever tried the guitar? Because that's kind of sounding more like what you're listening to. And I was like, no. And he gave me actually his first guitar, and I tried, and I didn't go to university anymore because I was just practicing all day long in my room. So that's how it started. It was like about 6 years ago, 7 years. Yeah, 6 years ago.
Oh,
So you self-taught yourself to play? No teaching, no lessons?
I mean, I've had like 1 or 2 lessons that I tried. I was like, maybe I'm gonna get a teacher, but I never really like got along with the teacher. Like, I never felt like on the same line.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep on teaching myself. Yeah.
Wow. So 6 years up until this point. So
that's impressive.
that's pretty quick, yeah?
It's like the first year I was playing like all the time, and like I was doing myself like schedules, like from 7 to 8 a.m. I'm gonna learn legato, from like 9 to 10. I was doing that actually on schedule, and that's how I progressed really fast at the beginning, and then I got a bit burned out of doing that, so I slowed down a little bit as well.
So you do a lot of like the rock and the metal side of things. Obviously in your spare time you probably do all sorts, but that's what you sort of like showcase a lot on your social. Is that sort of like where your passion lies with the music side then, or?
Yeah, I would say that's the music that makes me feel the most.
Yeah.
But I also love techno. Like, that's more something that I will listen to, like, to chill out. But I love techno, and overall, like, I would say I listen of a bit of everything. Like if I listen to something that I like, I don't care what genre it is, really. Like, but yeah, like, what I feel like makes me feel the most is mostly rock. Like, metal, not even so much, especially rock, I would say.
Any favourite bands as of right now?
This always changes, but that,
As
as
of
of
right
right now, that's a very good point. So Apparel, I love them. I would say Bring Me the Horizon, I'm listening to them quite a lot. What I'm listening to as well.
Worakls.
Wargasm. Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, and just for context, that's the gig we went to last night.
Yeah.
Depending on what date this podcast is launched, yeah.
Yeah, and then Hailstorm, The Pretty Reckless, my all-time favourite bands.
Oh, really?
We'll look a bit Hailstorm, to be fair.
Yeah, Lizzie Hale's got an insane voice.
Ridiculous voice.
Yeah.
I can't remember that cover, the one that she did.
It
The
was
UK gig.
Lady Gaga, wasn't it?
Yeah. Is it Bad Romance?
Bad Romance, yeah.
That's
To be
an
fair,
ins-
that whole album where they did covers, I'm not sure what the
Yeah.
album's called
No.
now.
I
Yeah,
can't remember.
Reanimate or something like that.
That's it, yeah. It's a brilliant album, to be
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
seen Hailstorm a few times, and her voice, even live, is just fuck.
Yeah, she's got so much power.
Yeah. You ever do any singing?
No, like I got some lessons, but I don't really feel like confident singing. I love singing for myself. It like makes me feel very relaxed, but like I'm not that good at it. So
You mentioned earlier that you'd kind of like you swap from like guitar and bass every now and again and stuff. What's your percentage on like how much do you play bass versus guitar at the moment?
At the moment, I would say it's like 60% bass, 40% guitar, about. Because I'm trying to teach myself bass a bit more, so to get better.
Yeah.
So obviously I need to spend more time on it. And yeah, I mean, I'm like, what I'm doing right now is pretty much like relaxing before getting into hard work, like for the festival and stuff. So I'm mostly like, playing things that I like and easy stuff and like, but yeah, mostly bass actually.
Okay.
Does it cross over quite easy? So say like I asked this in the last podcast as well. So if you learn guitar, when you're then playing bass, is it easy to cross over from one to the other, or are the fundamentals like completely different?
I mean, it's the same bass, obviously, like it's a string instrument and you got frets and it's the same scale pretty much. But I would say if you want to be a good bassist and learn to play like with the fingers on your right hand, that's a whole different technique to learn. And also the strings are much harder to press. That's something that like when I started playing bass, I needed like 2 fingers to press on one string. But it's pretty much of a natural switch, I would say. Yeah.
Mm.
What's the music like in France then? Because obviously you're here in the UK now, been to a UK gig. You're also going to see Limp Bizkit in Wembley next week as well. So, what do you think compares UK and France kind of music, kind of like culture?
I mean, culture-wise, the UK is like really about rock. I would say like that's. I mean, whenever I'm in the UK, it feels like everybody, not really everybody, but a lot of people have this alternative type of style and clothing. And so in terms of music, I would say France is much about like pop and what you would listen on the charts, that kind of thing. And electro as well, a lot of electro. And yeah, the UK is way more oriented to what I would listen to. That's why I'm spending so much time here. Yeah, and like you've got also pub culture where you've got a lot of rock and metal playing as well in those bars. That's why we don't have so much in France. Yeah.
Do you play much live music in kind of like bars and public areas in France, or not?
No,
much?
not so much. Like I've done it in the past, but not so much anymore.
Okay.
But I'm trying to actually find people to play with again, because I'm missing that, and it's also a great way to like get gigs in, like to not forget basically how to play live.
Yeah, just experience and keeping fresh with it basically.
Is that something you'd like to do? Get into a band, or what do you see yourself doing down the line? Is it something you want to take as like a solo, or?
Well, as for now, like, so I'm with Worakls as a touring musician, and I actually just love the part of being a session musician more than actually like having a solo project as for now, because it allows you to get the experience, like the stage experience and learning songs quite quickly and get familiar with the whole like touring thing. Rather than when you're starting your solo projects, like you need to work on everything at once. So as for now, I'm trying to get more experience with bands that are like already established, and maybe in the future, I mean, it's for sure in the future, I want my own songs and my own projects and stuff, but I would say like in 5 years from now on, but like not right now.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of like advice that you would give someone that's kind of like, say if there was someone 5 years ago from what you're doing, what would you sort of say for them to progress quick, or not progress quick like a shortcut, but what would you say for them to focus on based on your experience?
In terms of playing, rather? Or...
Yeah, practice, experience, like trying to get out there and...
Try to like, not, how to say, like, basically when you start learning something, you kind of want to, like, you're kind of listening to everybody telling you to like do things that way and do things that way, and this is the right way of playing and that is the right way. Try to not listen to that and just, like with guitars, like there are certain techniques that yes, you cannot really like go around and invent, but overall, like just try to find your own way of playing, and rather than trying to copy everybody else. And like, yeah, don't listen to people telling you like this is wrong way of playing, or because like it's just a matter of what's comfortable for you at the end of the day. And if that sounds good, then who cares?
That's a good answer, to be fair.
That's a very good answer.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, it's creative industry. Oh, no, not industry.
Yeah.
That's the wrong word to say, really, but it's a creative craft.
Definitely, like everybody often forgets, and especially I would say now that people are posting covers, people forget that it's an art. Music is an art, so like just feel free of doing it however you want it. Like it's like nobody's going to tell a painter like, oh, like you did that wrong. Like when you see an exhibition of painting, you're not just here like judging the way they did it. Like you're more trying to appreciate the meaning of a painting. So for music, it's like the same. Nobody cares of how you're playing your instruments. Like at least to me, what matters is what you're transmitting with it. Like what people are hearing and how you make them feel. And yeah.
What do you have? Do you have like any particular kind of goal with how you play your music, and even if it's just a cover, like you put your own style on it? Do you ever have like a specific goal in mind when you're trying to make your own music and stuff, or you try and hit like a certain mood?
Like most of the time, I'm trying to like show people, not really show people, but yeah, make them feel like I have fun actually doing what I'm doing, and I like enjoy it. And yeah, I used to try to make it perfect, and like everything needed to be like so accurate, and yeah, and I've seen like people trying to say like just be more free in the way you do it, like, and yeah, so I want people to see that I have fun and that I'm enjoying myself. Like that's the goal, because that's what I like when I'm watching other people. It's to me it's boring to see somebody being like on their guitar like so concentrated and focused. It doesn't entertain me, basically. So I'm trying to be the opposite of that. But like, there is no wrong or good way of doing it. It's like, yeah, what feels natural for you, I guess.
Oh, that's good. Feels like there's a lot more, there's a lot more to playing music when you're kind of entertaining as well then, really.
Yeah. I mean, I think like when you see people on stage, for example, you go see a show to actually like see people rocking out the songs and not just like I mean, yeah, otherwise just listen to studio albums, I guess. Like, yeah.
Going back to when you say about playing and you were learning to play, and once you got to that stage where you felt comfortable in your skill, and then you started to do like your first ever gig, what was that like? Like, when you go onto the stage first time, it's like, oh my god, fuck, there's people everywhere.
Like, everyone's looking at me.
So I had that experience before when playing piano, that we were doing concerts like with the music school. So this thing of being in front of people was not new for me.
Yeah.
But I was just really not feeling confident because I was scared of people judging like me for the way I play an instrument. But overall, like I don't feel very like impressed with people, like especially when it's a big crowd watching me, because I feel like if you step on that stage, is that you've got enough confidence, like that you're ready for it. Yeah. So I mean, I don't remember it being like a special experience with guitar, because as I said, I've had it in the past, but when I was doing it as a kid with piano, it was terrifying. It was horrible. Like I really didn't like it. But yeah, like with also I've grown up and like evolved as a person, so it's gotten like easier and easier.
So I suppose doing that as a young age, it kind of broke the barrier straight away, really.
Yeah, because like we also had like exams at the end of every year that were in front of people. So I guess I wouldn't say like I've grown up with it like my whole life, but pretty much like, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose when you're going in for an exam, you're there trying to impress one person, whereas when you're at like a gig and you're just jamming out, you're just having fun, so it's a bit smoother and easier.
Exactly, like you're not trying to impress people. I mean, at least that's not my goal. You're just trying to have fun with them, like literally.
Yeah.
So I suppose that'd be the difference, because obviously like we're not like, Kurt plays the guitar, try and play the drums.
We'll call it that.
Yeah, we play.
Yeah.
We're like hobby musicians, probably like an hour a week or something. But the difference with that is like if we just suddenly said, let's learn a song and play to 1,000 people, we would shit ourselves.
Yeah, I would not turn up.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
I mean,
whereas with you, for example, you've kind of had that like from a young age, just like, oh, here's a crowd of people, play some music.
Yeah, but it's like much easier to play in front of 1,000 people than like 5 people, for sure.
Really?
Yeah, because like when you've got a crowd, you've got so many people having different like reaction and emotions, and so it kind of like blends out. But when you have like 5 people in front of you, they all like stare at you, and you see like clearly their faces. But yeah, so like I used to do only small gigs before finding Worakls. I mean, before they found me, and yeah, when we played like the first big venue, I was like, this is so scary. Like I was so nervous, and then when I stepped on stage, I was like, no, it's actually much cooler than playing a bar or something.
Yeah. So you caught the bug then. You just like, yes, I like this.
yeah, definitely.
Have you got any kind of like, do you ever write music, like lyrics and stuff? Or I know you said about the singing, but do you ever sort of like play around with lyrics and stuff?
I do write a lot of lyrics because it's my therapy in a way. Like people journal, I write lyrics, but I never do anything with it. Like I would write like piece of lyrics here and there and never actually take the time to finish it as a whole song. I've got a couple of them, but yeah, I mean, I'm not a singer, and I'm like, I don't really want other people to sing what I write because it's like very personal.
Yeah.
So it's gonna stand in my phone until I can sing, maybe. And otherwise, yes, I do write some music, same like pieces of drafts here and there. But I really struggle to put something together and be happy with it.
Yeah.
Like whenever I start to put it together, I'm like, I need to change that and this, and then it ends up being completely different, and then I don't like it, and yeah.
So gets a little bit trying to achieve perfection a little bit.
Yeah, a lot actually.
Yeah.
Like I very much struggle with that to a certain extent.
You mentioned earlier, because we've got an electric drum set here, you mentioned that you'd love to try and get into drumming and stuff.
Yeah.
Did that come from somebody, or did you just sort of go, I've learned this, and this, what's next?
It's literally just watching drummers. They seem to have like the most fun ever. Like, and also, I mean, it seems to be a fun instrument because you're like actually physically playing the music. Like, I mean, with every instrument, sure, but just that thing of like completely getting into the beat of a song. I think I would love it. So.
Is there any kind of like particular drum beat or a song that has like a punchy drum beat that you'd like to try and learn, or is it just the basics in general of?
Honestly, just the fact of getting a beat, like getting in a beat,
yeah.
No matter what it is. Like, I mean, there are songs where I'm like, I would love to play that. I don't know, like from Gojira, or to take easy examples, yeah. Or like the old emo pop punk like Paramore. I'm a huge Paramore fan as well.
Yeah.
That seems really fun to play.
Yeah. Speaking of Paramore, what do you think of their newest music?
I think it's very grown up. Like, I think it's like, I talked about it on Instagram. It's like the perfect album that they could have put out like at this time, because they've been through like so much as a band and changes, and Hayley's been through a lot of personal shit as well. And I think this album really like resumes their whole pretty much like history, and then they like, I feel like everybody's missing their like whole riot phase, because like Hayley Williams is always attached to this emo era. But I personally love it. Like, sure, it's not like very dancey like the last one was, but yeah, I mean, her voice sounds amazing.
Yeah,
it's only got better, really, hasn't it? Seeing the videos of her live, like more recently as well, she seems so like wild and free, and
right.
She knows how to be a front person for a band.
Oh yeah, to me, like, she's like, in my eyes, the best performer. Like, she's like you look up to her sort of thing, big time. Like, before getting into the Worakls tour, I watched so many live videos of her, because she seems like in her element just on stage, just like she is living it, and having so much fun and not caring so much about what she looks like, or and I love that. Yeah.
You mentioned Gojira just then as well.
Sorry?
Gojira.
Yeah.
You just mentioned them as well. Are they like the best French metal band at the moment, you would say, or?
They're probably the best one that has ever existed, like in France. I mean, we don't have many metal bands that are known actually. Like apart from Gojira, from the top of my head, I couldn't quote one.
Yeah, it's a stupid question from me really, because I can't think of any either.
But to be fair, one of the wildest gigs we've probably ever been to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it was so good.
And that was at the O2 as well, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what everybody's telling me as well. Like,
Yeah.
I've never seen them live, but I would love to. Yeah, I know.
Ooh, yes.
I would love to.
You share the same country of origin and you've never seen them before.
Because I actually started listening to them like last year or something. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why? Like, how come? I thought that they would have been someone that you would have just sort of like, even just because of being, rock and metal, they would have just floated into your playlist somewhere.
Because like music-wise, it wasn't so much what I was looking for before. Like, it's a bit, I wouldn't say niche, but it's a bit like different than the usual rock and metal songs that I would listen to. And yeah, so when I went to like a gig, there was this song that was playing, like, when you're waiting for, like, and I was like, well, what is it? And they told me it's Gojira, and I was like, that sounds really cool. And then I got a bit more into Deftones, and I would say they're a bit similar in a way, and so they would come often in my playlist, and yeah, that's how I started listening to them.
What do you think of that guy behind you?
Who is that? I don't know. It doesn't ring a bell.
No, to be fair, we found it in a charity shop. Like,
Yeah.
don't know who it was.
Just like, this guy looks nice.
Yeah, he looks cool. He's got a cool hat. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I wouldn't say the reason why I play guitar, but when I was listening to Guns N' Roses, I was always like, the guitar work is phenomenal. Like, it's got melodies, it's got rhythm, it's got like some imperfection as well. That's why I love him, because everybody's playing like, Slash is like playing in a sloppy way, but that's what I love about it, because like nobody's perfect, nobody's playing perfectly, and he just doesn't care about actually showing it and actually like recording it. And yeah, when I was listening to like Guns N' Roses album, it just made me feel like so much. And I was like, I want to try to play that as well. Yeah. And then I learned a bit more about his playing and about him as a person as well. And he's been like so dedicated to his instruments, like crazy, that, I mean, yeah, he inspired me a lot.
Yeah. We mentioned earlier when we went to see the John Bonham statue, saying about like people that, musicians that are like top tier that aren't around anymore. Do you ever, have you got sort of like, you said about Slash then, is there someone who's no longer around with us that you sort of still listen to and try and kind of get inspiration from, like, like Jimi Hendrix or...
Like, I mean, Kurt Cobain. Yeah. Because a bit for the same reason, because he was really like just unapologetically himself.
Yeah.
And not caring about what people were thinking at all, and just also not caring about if what he was playing or singing sounded actually good, quote unquote. He was just doing music for the art, like for the art part of it in a way. And yeah, that's why I wish that we would have somebody like him nowadays to bring a bit more like realness into music again. Yeah.
He was authentic, wasn't he?
Exactly, yeah. Because now I feel like with social media, it's like music has lost like the raw part of it. It's like everybody's trying to impress and like play as fast as possible and be as perfect as possible.
Trying to get likes, views.
Yeah. And yeah, that's why I miss a lot.
Yeah. What's the social side for you like at the moment? Because obviously you do lots of content.
Yeah.
Does that sort of like take up a lot of your time, or do you? Yeah. Just nodding yes.
It's like there are phases where I would get a lot into it and be very productive and post a lot, and then it would like I would get burned of it very, very fast, because I would stop and then be like, okay, why do I do this actually? Like, is it because I want to do it, like, I want to play it, or is it because of the approval part that is a bit like of an addiction in a way? Because when I started playing music, I didn't post covers, and I was actually playing for myself way more. And that's why, I mean, social media, I wouldn't say like it's shit because it brought me like many opportunities. Like we met through social media, and like Worakls found me through social media.
Yeah.
But it's definitely having like a lot of downs that are like, yeah, you're really wondering why you're playing music when you're posting that much on social media. At the end of the day.
Do you have any sort of like,
pros or cons?
Yeah, I was going to say, is there any sort of like, the reason you should is for this, and the reason you shouldn't focus too much on it is for this? Like, is there any?
So you should do it.
Speaking as like a young musician who's trying to get themselves out there as much as possible.
Yeah. So for promotion, like obviously now it's kind of like everybody's going through social media to find like, I don't know, like brands to work with and like band members, and that's kind of like the main way. So for promotion, that's definitely the best tool at the moment, I think. The cons is that if you want to impress people, or if you want to just show off, because like you should always remind yourself the reason why you started playing music. And if the reason is to get like people's approval and like recognition through people, I don't know if that makes sense, don't just stop. But yeah, like, and just always keep it fun. And if you're annoyed by it, stop, because it's just social media. It's not the real world. I know that now it has such a big part of our lives that we kind of tend to forget that it's actually not the real world. And don't let it take over like you playing in real life, actually, because you can like, there are people that make a whole career of playing on YouTube, and that's great. But I feel like, you can very easily forget that you can also gig outside of social media.
Yeah, so basically, look, don't chase the likes, the views. Don't try and find like the route to more likes, more views, because I suppose you get sucked into trying to get more and more and more, rather than just playing how you would have played. They got you to that point anyway.
Yeah. Because, like, I mean, also the platforms themselves, like, they always, like, encourage you to make more content and that kind of thing. And, like, they show you statistics being like, oh, this video made, like, 100 less views than this one, you know? And, like, it can get very, like, like an obsession in a way. And I think, like, this is when it becomes toxic.
Yeah, I suppose you don't want to be sitting there thinking, fuck, why did that video do this?
Yeah.
And this one isn't doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you start playing not for actually what you like and like for yourself, but for what you for the platform, literally, like for what you think the platform will like. And when I started posting, like not really when I started posting, but get serious about it, there was a time where I wasn't playing covers that I actually enjoyed, but covers just that I knew that would work, like Metallica and Megadeth, and it's bands that I hate. I hate Metallica, but yes, but I knew that people wanted me to play that, so I would, and I was like, fuck that. I don't want to play something that I don't like. Like, that's not the reason why I play music. So yeah.
I love that answer, to be fair.
Yeah. We had this similar kind of conversation with Daisy Pepper.
Yeah, I mean,
we can just call her Daisy, I suppose, but for the audience listening, Daisy Pepper.
Yeah.
She said about her kind of like you said, pros and cons of doing all the social side of things, and you know, she was saying about like the algorithms and what's the best time to post and all this kind of stuff, and she's really good at it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can see how much kind of like, not pressure, but it does add that extra little bit of skim of like stress, I suppose.
Definitely.
Trying to figure out your best way to post stuff and how you can get views, because ultimately, although it is focus on the music, if you're going to do social media, you may as well try and do it properly.
Yeah, I mean, there is always this thing, I think it's like, either you decide to not be a social media musician, but you know what I mean, like either you really decide on like investing time and like social media becoming your full-time job in a way, so then you're aware of the limits and you can better control it. But if you want to post on social media just like because you like recording covers and that kind of thing, try to take a step back and do a checkup of like, okay, am I getting like into the social media spiral, or is it still fine?
I suppose if you enjoy doing it,
Yeah.
So you enjoy making music, you enjoy doing edits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of like an all-round nice project to do, really, is it? But then, like
Yeah.
you said, if you do get sucked into it too much and you're trying to chase likes and numbers, and you forget,
Yeah, check
You-
yourself.
you
Yeah.
move further away from being Kurt Cobain, basically, the
Yeah.
authentic. kind.
Literally the opposite, yeah.
Yeah. So you've got all this sorts of kind of like experience and opinions and music, and we've talked a lot about that. But where do you sort of like find downtime? How do you sort of relax? Because obviously, presumably, you don't do music 24/7.
Yeah, no. I love to go on long walks and runs, and I love basically any kind of sports. That's really where I get my mind out, and yeah, going in the nature, like on walks. So that's my best way of relaxing, because or like drawing and that kind of thing. I'm not good at drawing, but I love it. Like it just makes me feel like completely. It empties my mind in a way.
Yeah.
But and like going like road skating and outside. I love being outside.
Yeah. I suppose it beats being in a studio all the time.
So, yeah. Sorry.
It beats being in a studio all the time playing
Yeah,
music.
yeah,
in
definitely.
a closed box.
Yeah,
and
when you
then
really
just like, oh.
with your laptop like constantly. And, yeah.
What's the the kind of like way of, you say about relaxing stuff, but like what do you sort of do in the meantime? Do you have like an actual full-time job as well, or is it literally just music all the time?
It's music all the time.
Yeah.
And then like I'm also actually looking for a job now to save up to move here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like as for now it's like literally everything that I do.
So you want to move? What's the reasons for you wanting to move to the UK then?
Well, there are lots of reasons, but the people being like the main reason. Everything is like when people are nice around you, everything feels nicer, and yeah, the lifestyle way more open-minded. The pubs, crazy. Now overall, and then obviously like when you're closer to big cities, I mean that's about in every country, but I feel like especially with the rock culture of England. If I would move closer to a big city, more opportunities to find people to play with, and yeah.
And plus, we still have Download Festival,
Yeah, you do.
which we spoke about.
But
yesterday.
we've got Hellfest.
All right.
So
But I presume, being as you're a massive Metallica fan, you're happy to see that they're doing 2 days this year at Download. Right?
yeah, I got tickets like right away,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna
absolutely.
queue like from the morning to the evening.
I mean, I'm a fan of Metallica. I wouldn't say that they're my favourite, but at the same
sorry,
time,
then.
I am a fan of them. So seeing them, it's the first time I'll ever be seeing them before. So that should be interesting. But yeah, I've heard mixed opinions about the 2-day thing.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, you know, like so many people like them, so it's probably like very profitable for the festivals, like to have them on 2 days. But I don't like the principle of putting like one band like, you know, higher up than any other band, because like at the end of the day they're all artists and they all deserve in a way like the same recognition. And it's not because Metallica like is Metallica that, you know, they're worth more than any other band that would play as well. Like, so I'm not so much for the idea of having the same band playing twice.
Yeah.
It feels harsh sometimes as well, because I mean, you see like a lot of the older bands, like, you know, when like Def Leppard or AC/DC come along or something like that, they always get the headlining stage, don't they, at Download. It feels like, you know, some of the bands that are more recent have been, you know, they're trying to get to that stage. They should be given the opportunity to headline more.
Sorry.
That's bad to happen at some point, wasn't it?
It was James Hetfield, actually.
Oh, but yeah.
It was just saying.
Metallica.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
had this conversation before. But it's nice. I mean, this year we've also got Bring Me headlining one of the days.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But having 2 days for one band is like, I get it, but you know, you could choose somebody else as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, why just make it one band, like, play 2 day? Like, I mean, it's like they're doing also headline tours and that kind of thing. So at the end of the day, if people want to see them, then they have opportunities to see them, I guess. So, like.
I mean, I'm happy about it. I'm not going to complain that they're doing 2 days, but I haven't seen them before either.
Okay.
And I haven't seen this 2-day thing before. So it could be at the end of the festival, I could be thinking, it was good, but like it didn't have to be 2 days.
Yeah. So you're seeing them like both days, like you?
Yeah, I'll be there for the
Cool.
full,
Okay.
from like Wednesday to the Sunday.
Okay.
And then on the Monday, I'll be like,
Yeah, probably. But that's good. They do, I think, different sets, right? On
yeah.
both days?
There's two
Okay, at
completely
least.
different sets.
You'd hope, wouldn't you?
I fucking hope so. Because
Yeah.
imagine if it's like the same song again. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck me.
They'll probably
Summer.
play like muscle puppets like both times though.
That
but-
one's going to be really good though, because I think they'll do all the Stranger Things stuff. You know, with
Yeah.
Eddie Munson playing on like the red and the flashes and stuff on the screen. That'll be fun. We asked Daisy Pepper this on the last podcast, but if you was to choose your headliners for Download, who would you choose? And let's pretend you've got 4 days.
Okay, so like 4 headliners.
Yeah.
Paramore, The Pretty Reckless, I Prevail, and Hailstorm. I've got to put them.
Top
because-
4.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good. That is. No dad bands.
Sorry.
Dad bands. You know that phrase, dad band? Like old bands, like
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Oh
Liquidation,
yeah.
Kiss.
No, I'm actually not really tired of hearing them, but like it's time for new blood. I would say.
Yeah. That's the general kind of opinion we both have, really, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, I've seen them headlining like every single year, the same festivals pretty much. Like when you see Iron Maiden is like everywhere at festivals all the time, and I've seen them, but you know I wouldn't see them like again and again and again every single year. Like, and I mean obviously like we're not gonna like put some bands on the side because well they've been living long enough, but I feel like with those bands still existing, it's hard for newer bands to actually break through. And yeah, because those bands are still around, like there are bands that could be headlining instead of them that are still like playing small stages, for example. So obviously like they still deserve to be here because they're like still playing music and that kind of thing. But I think that would be nice if some years, you know, we would see a bit more like fresher bands headlining. Yeah.
People see musicians playing and doing what they know how to do, but sometimes you never really get to see the full person and hear everything about them.
Yeah, I mean, I love to not really like get to know the artist. Yeah, get to know the artist, like, and who they are as a person, because I think like it really shows in the music in a way. And also, Metallica is a good example actually. I start like before seeing A Kind of Monster, I didn't really have an opinion on them because I didn't know who they were as people. And then I saw the movie and then I completely stopped listening to them because it was like, there's no way I'm going to listen to music made by people like that. Like, I mean, I don't know if that's actually a real reflection of who they are as people. Like, you can never know. But yeah, I was like, sorry, but I cannot support people that are like this. Literally.
What is it saying it there? Don't meet your heroes.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. Although I met Slash and he was really
you've
nice.
met
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank God.
What's he like in person? Actually, don't tell Kurt.
Yeah.
Don't tell him.
He's really simple, and like very quiet. Like he doesn't talk much, but I mean we've got also very few like more minutes like together. But he was really nice and like smiling and yeah, like a very normal person. Like
It's very laid back and chill.
yeah,
And
completely.
that's
yeah.
good.
Good. Well, Laurie. Well, I'm trying to remember my pronunciation now. Laurie.
Lore.
Loch. Sorry. Oh, actually, can you tell Kurt how you say squirrel in French?
Yeah, écureuil.
Oh, I'm not repeating.
Please.
that. Say it one more time. One more time.
Okay, so E
E
Q
Q.
reuil.
Oh, snap it. It's that
Always
bit.
that bit.
You know that bit in like the Friends meme with Joey, and he's trying to get him to say all the words.
Blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. Blah, blah, blah. No chance.
Echureux.
Reuil.
Reuil.
Yeah, the last bit is good.
Echureux. Oh God.
Yeah, I don't want to disrespect the French, to be honest. I'll ruin it.
That's a good excuse.
Yeah.
what I will say is merci, Laurie.
De rien. You're welcome.
Still got it wrong as well. Yeah, honestly, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah.
We'll do a bit of a music trivia quiz with you now.
Okay, I'm scared. Yeah.
Thank you very much for talking.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
That was the Cherry Dog Podcast, with special guest, Lore Jarocinski. Keep up to date with Lore and her music by following her on her socials. Also be sure to check out the Cherry Dog Apparel range now at www.cherrydogapparel.com. Thanks for listening.